Today we're covering probably the most important lesson on YouTube. If you don't come up with a good video topic, then your video could be dead even before it's been born. So hey, don't kill your video. Instead, do it the right way and supercharge your video and give it a chance to reach millions of people and get millions of views. So today, we're giving you all of our best hacks, strategies, and Jedi mind tricks to help you come up with great video topics. So with that said, let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. All right, hey, big episode today. It's not even an episode, it's a mastermind. Big mastermind today. And we're going to give you strategies about coming up with topics, like I just said. So I'm going to go ahead and start this off right away by asking you, Grant, how you doing, first of all? Second of all, any video topic strategies that you have?
Well, first of all, I'm doing well. I'm feeling relaxed and good this morning. Thank you for asking.
Nice.
As far as strategies, well, my favorite is, so I worked on a team for many years on YouTube. My favorite is, it's very simple. A very standard place to start is just everybody's kind of, they've got their ear to the ground. They're following trends, and then you collaborate. You're like, hey, we need to come up with a video topic. And what are we going to do, team? Like, all of us have been watching Twitter. We've all been watching YouTube. What's going on? Are there any new games coming out? And then you just kind of go from there and collaborate. Now, I know not everybody has a team, but that's kind of the most obvious tried and true strategy. Maybe people listening are like, yeah, no, duh. But sometimes it is important to not overthink it. You don't have to like do a headstand and spin around 3 times and pray to the idea fairy. But that's the main one. We'll start with that one because it's the gold standard.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. Like, that's like a fundamental, right? Like, just brainstorm and ask people and talk about it. Because it's like what you said at the beginning there, I vibed with a lot because you said like we all kind of have our ear to the streets. We're watching Twitter. We're on YouTube watching our other people in our niche, right? Everyone does that, following the trends. And so everyone always probably picks up one or two, but with multiple minds combined, hey, you guys probably come up with a ton. Okay. So let me just fire one more question as a follow-up to there. So give us an example. Like, what would be like an example of like one you guys maybe picked up off a trend or something like that from your channel?
So the trends can be interesting because there are trends that like pop up and they kind of live and die within like 3 days. But then there are other trends that are like kind of always trending, or at least they're trending for many years. So there was a game called Five Nights at Freddy's that we covered a lot on Treesicle. And it was kind of our big payday video game. We covered that and we knew that we were going to get views. But the problem was usually, unless there was a new Five Nights at Freddy's game coming out, what are we going to cover? What are we going to talk about? And so we kind of had to get creative with the video topics. And I think one thing that maybe doesn't occur to people is if you have an idea that you think is inherently interesting, you can express that idea by using a medium that isn't necessarily obvious. So, for example, with Five Nights at Freddy's, that whole idea of fake news, the idea that you can't trust everything you see on the internet, or just because someone is dressed in a suit in front of a camera, you can't necessarily trust them. We took that idea and talked about it with Five Nights at Freddy's. So we wanted to tell people that just because you can't trust everything you see doesn't mean that the world is out to get you or that it's bad. And we were able to tie this in with the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise by kind of, so you need to know a little bit about Five Nights at Freddy's. So let me give you some background here. The way this game worked and the reason it was so popular was because it wasn't entirely obvious what the plot was and what was going on. So, you'd like play through the game and it would be very mysterious what was actually happening. So you could kind of tie that idea into fake news. So instead of like covering, oh, what's the next Five Nights at Freddy's game going to be? Hype, hype. We kind of took that philosophical idea of fake news and like, can you believe everything you're seeing? And we made a video about it. So there was a lot of YouTubers kind of like, oh, I found this weird thing in one corner of the game, and this means that this guy is actually the murderer, which it kind of sounds like fake news, right? People are just making things up, and you can't necessarily trust everything. So we took that idea and ran, and we made like a 15-minute video, and I think it's sitting at close to 1 million views now. So when it comes to brainstorming ideas, if there's just like a topic that you think is inherently interesting and you've kind of found yourself in a certain niche and you feel a little trapped in that corner, maybe get creative with like, oh, hey, this idea of fake news, I keep like thinking about it. Can I somehow tie that into this niche that I feel trapped in? So does that make sense? It's like, get creative with it.
It does. It does. Yeah. I think that's super creative way to look at coming up with video topics. And it's a great way because so many people are just so strategical, like, and I'm going to talk about a strategy here in a second, which are good too, right? Because there's all different kinds of YouTube channels out there. But even if you are like more of just a how-to type video for your small business and trying to, get ranked for a search term, it's more of like a business strategy than I don't know, a different kind of strategy or way to grow a channel. If you can add that creativity part to it, it just makes for so much more of an interesting video because those talking head how-to videos, they just get so stale. And if those are you, then that's fine, but get creative with it. I think that's the lesson to be learned. Okay, that's a great one. And that all stemmed from just Grant talking about bouncing ideas, right? He's talking about bouncing all these different ideas off each other, and they're able to get really creative and come up with something like that. Video did well, 1 million views. That's awesome. So my strategy, like I said, is going to be a little bit more tactical, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up a YouTube channel here. And so my strategy is basically just to find other people, maybe competitors or people that are in your niche, and go to their YouTube channel, search for their most popular videos, look across the board at their most popular videos and just see what kind of topics they are, right? What is the topic at its core? And then look at the spinoff, right? Because for me, a lot of times I am looking at channels that are like how-to type channels or just tutorial type channels or reviews of different things. But I can look at them and say, wow, look, they're making a really interesting spinoff of this niche. Like, for example, business, kind of a cut and dry niche. Or maybe online business or something like that. I follow people who have those kind of channels and like, you can look at their video topics and they're like, I asked 10 millionaires, how they grew their business. And so there is a little bit of a creativity. He's not just there standing in front of a camera saying, here's strategy 1, strategy 2, tip number 3, tip number 4. He's out there interviewing these people. It makes it interesting. It's kind of, there's, he's asking them questions, hard questions, like what's your net worth and stuff like that. So it just makes for a more creative video. And then the user gets value and they're able to learn because he's asking from these actual millionaires. So I'm going to pull up a channel that is in this business niche called Noah Kagan. We can just go ahead and go through that quick little exercise. Let me see. There it is. Bringing it up. And this is Noah Kagan. He has 371,000 subscribers. I can click to see his views. 18 million views. Wow, that's really respectable. He's kind of new on the scene. It says joined February 1st, 2006. But if I went all the way to his most recent, or his kind of when he started taking us serious, it was probably 1 to 2 years ago. And this guy's crazy. He's the founder of AppSumo, which is just an online business that gives deals on software. And it's a $100 million business. And he said that they invest over $100,000 a year into this YouTube channel with the editors, the videographers, the thumbnail guy. I mean, he's doing a good job, and that's a lot of growth for 1 to 2 years. Yeah, and his videos are great. So, I mean, even let's look at some of his most recent ones. This is the business niche. He's an entrepreneur. He's trying to get people, he gives advice about how to be, an online entrepreneur. 9 passive income ideas, how I make $357,000 a month. So one thing you're going to notice in this niche, because I'm very interested in this niche, is that the big dollar signs in the titles. You're going to see, like, look at this one, asking NFT expert how to make $1 million. Okay, these are all asking millionaires how to make $1 million. These are his most recent ones. So you see, he's kind of found this trend that works for him, and now he's going really hard on it. And wow, this is 1 month ago. It has 1 million views. Asking 80-year-old millionaires if it was worth it. So he's kind of really pivoted his topics. If I go sort by most popular, and here's kind of where the exercise begins. A lot of people have seen this. This guy's in the niche that I want to be in. I'm looking at his most popular videos. One of these is only 6 months ago. 2.4 million views. It went viral. Asking millionaires how to make $1 million. That was kind of the example I gave. So this can give me an idea of like, okay, instead of teaching somebody how to earn money online, tip number 1, 2, 3, I can do something creative, come up with a topic like this, get out into the street, and give my video a chance to thrive. Grant, have you ever seen this strategy? Or and last to close this out, and I'd go through all these. Like I'd go through probably 20 of these and look for the trends, and then kind of let them influence me. You don't want to copy, but let them influence me to come up with my own. Have you ever seen this?
Yeah, like I think looking at what other people are doing in your space it's just a tried and true strategy. Like as you said, you don't want to copy, but also it is smart to see what's working. I've absolutely done it before. And to add on to what you're saying, so like obviously looking at what videos are being posted on a channel that's doing well is super smart. Another layer to this that you can kind of add on is you can actually directly look at the keywords. So if you download vidIQ, it'll show you what tags a video has. So like in the kind of spirituality space, you'll see a lot of tags like law of attraction, twin flame, new age, kind of like you'll see what topics are getting the most traction based off of like what if you look at a video with 1 million views and then you look at its tags, then you'll know, okay, well, clearly if I cover something in this niche with these keywords, then there's a better chance of a video doing well. If you don't want to download a Chrome extension for whatever reason, you can also, I believe, so once you click on a video, you can press F12, I think it is, and then press Control F, so that'll open up the search functionality, and then search keyword, I believe. And then it'll show you the tags on that video. It's kind of in like HTML code, so it's a little hard to see. But this is just kind of a tried and true YouTube trick. So yes, I have done this many, if not a billion times, and it works. It's a good strategy.
Yeah, you might want to do a little rewind on this episode if you're listening and write down that little hack that Grant just shared right there, because that was a Jedi mind trick, my friend. But I've done that before too, actually. I ran across that one, but or vidIQ, right, to look at them. But yeah, that's cool. You can look at the tags. All right, let's go ahead and keep this bouncing back and forth. Any other hacks, strategies, tips that you can think of? I have one that a lot of people have seen, but I'll let you go first.
Well, my favorite is to go outside. To not just beat your head against a wall like, I can't come up with a topic. Like, maybe go for a walk. Maybe hang out with your friends. Get a beer. Eat some cheesecake. Just live your life a little bit and try not to try so hard. I know it's counterintuitive, but it's the idea of a shower thought, right? I think the reason people have shower thoughts when, there's water falling onto their head and there's nothing else going on in their life, and all of a sudden they have an idea, and it's a good idea. The reason this happens is because when you're in the shower, you are completely immersed in it. Like, you can't do anything else. You can't be on your laptop in the shower. You can't, I guess you could be on a phone call, but nobody does that. You're like isolated from the world for a set period of time. And there's something about that makes you let go. And that idea of letting go is quite powerful. So, there can be a lot of pressure that people put on themselves to succeed on YouTube. They're trying to be famous or they're trying to be successful. And sometimes that pressure, it can fuel you, but sometimes it can really stifle you. So if you can just go outside and remember like how to actually enjoy your life and to maintain your connections with people you really love and care about, this will actually be very helpful to you. But also, another kind of layer to this is don't just hang out with your friends so that you can have better ideas. Like, just hang out with your friends or go outside to enjoy yourself legitimately. So I know this is kind of weird advice and it's very wholesome, but it does work, I promise.
Yeah, going for a walk is a way to get a little exercise, but yeah, that's like thinking time to me. So I love that. Good stuff. All right, I guess we're having a nice balance today because I'm giving like these more Google search and this is what you're gonna find strategies. Grant's giving you more of the been through it for years. We're both of us, but I guess I don't know what I'm saying. The soulful side, I guess. The soulful.
I'm
side
giving the old man advice.
Yeah.
Don't try so hard.
I love it though, because we've all been there. I mean, everyone talks about YouTube burnout, create writer's block, right? It's writer's block essentially. You know, it's that's what we're helping you break through today. So I'm gonna give a quick one, and it's just to, and this would be more for like how-to type videos, right? It's just to go to YouTube search, type in how-to, and think of something that your dream viewer, the person you would love to watch your videos because they really vibe with you, that kind of person. You know, what are they searching on there, and then creating videos there. And that's a strictly SEO, search engine strategy, where you're trying to rank for a search term. And if you're kind of stuck, I'll throw another one out there too. But as far as like, you're like, okay, you said how to, but how to what? That's where I'm kind of stuck. You're going to think about, it's almost like target market, right? We're talking a little marketing now. When you're thinking about who's in my target market, who does my product, who am I pitching my product to? You want to pitch it in a way that they understand and that really helps to talk to their fears, talks about the results that they're trying to get, help them get the results, and their desires, right? Those kind of things. So what are their fears? What kind of results are they trying to get? And what are their desires? And that'll take you pretty far, and then put how to before that. So a quick example, let me get into the golf world. Let's say you want to create golf videos, how to, you want to rank for search. Okay, well, they want to drive the ball farther. That's what they would desire. So how to drive the ball farther, could be a good video topic. With all that said, a little caveat, that's a little cut and dry. Right, that's a little cut and dry. So take that and try to make a spinoff, get creative with it. Think of that Noah Kagan example from earlier. He's not just teaching you. So maybe it'd be better if a pro could give you some tips, or you could ask a pro, something like that would make it maybe more interesting. Yeah, so there's my tip. I'll throw it back to you, Grant. Any other quick thoughts or strategies on how to come up with video topics?
Well, I've definitely given the most wholesome ones, and I think it is helpful to stay wholesome because that'll really ensure that you're comfortable in the long run. But I mean, so the space I was in was kind of interesting. Like, new games would come out, and I think maybe the hard thing is something worth covering or is it not? So let's say a new game comes out and it seems very popular, but you're not quite sure, is this relevant to my channel? Like, is this a trend that is going to last long, or is it going to live and die very quickly? So I think it's worth paying attention to the, like, if you have vidIQ, you can look at the search volume of a topic, and it'll show you the volume relative to the competition. So like, it's how many people are searching for this versus how many people are making videos on this. And the more weighted a topic is, the more you should cover it. So if it has very high search volume, so it has very high demand, but it has very low supply because it has very low competition, then this is a topic you should cover. Again, if you download vidIQ and you just search in the YouTube search bar, it'll tell you this information with any topic, any keyword you want. It's totally free. You don't have to pay any money. And it's super useful. Like, you can quantify how likely it is that this topic is going to succeed. So yeah, I think you still have to kind of come up with the keywords like, would this work? Would this work? But I think everybody, like, if you're in the YouTube space, you kind of have a bunch of keywords in your head, a bunch of sort of miscellaneous ideas that you're not sure if it'll work, but there's a way to quantify if it is a good idea or not. So yes, download vidIQ, check the competition and search volume, and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And I think that, to me, there's kind of like two strategies when it comes to coming up with video topics as far as what you're trying to achieve with the video. It's because, the YouTube algorithm, if your video does great and has great watch time and high click-through rate, they'll promote you out through like suggested, browse, or land you on the homepage. And it doesn't have to be an SEO video, a video that's about a search term, right? Like, that's like me coming up with a video topic in this business niche and stuff, and kind of the how-to world. I don't have to come up with a how-to video SEO title. I could come up with something that is more like we saw earlier, like asking people how to make $1 million. He's not getting 1 million views in 6 months on that video because it ranks for a search term. Like, that's getting promoted out. And that was a total play by him because the title of the video is not a search term. It's not one that he went and typed into the search bar, or kind of like what you were describing with vidIQ. Like, to me, those are more like ranking for search. And, in the Treesicle world, your channel, Grant, I could see you being able to do hybrid a lot, because maybe there was like a new game that came out and a lot of people are searching for it, and you might be able to do some sort of review title. Did you guys ever do any? I know your channel wasn't technically like video game reviews. It was more like info and really kind of comedy. But did you ever come up with like review type videos that would rank for search?
We didn't really do any reviews. I don't think that I can think of. We made so many videos. There's like 500 videos on that channel. But I don't think we did any reviews per se. And I don't know if we ever like tried to rank anything. I guess what did you mean by rank exactly? Like,
the search, like for a search term.
I got you. Yeah. Honestly, we didn't really do that. We weren't really using vidIQ. At least I wasn't. Maybe somebody else on the team was. But I wasn't like actively using it at the time. I was very, given the old man advice, like sticking to the wholesome and kind of looking at the bird's eye view, I guess. And which is fine. And I did kind of, speaking of old man advice, I would like to give a bit more because I think it's important. So where I'm going with this is oftentimes we try too hard to make a video succeed. But what's most important is that you have an audience that is dedicated to you and what you're saying. And if you're chasing numbers too much, you can end up isolating your true fans. You can end up putting them at arm's length when that's the opposite that you want to do. Because the easiest way to make a living on YouTube is to have a relatively small or large enough audience that believes in you and is willing to support you. Like, too many people are trying to be Michael Jackson. They're trying to be Madonna. But maybe like you're just hitting a certain note. You're hitting just the right frequency for like 10,000 people to just, you're the guy for them. You're just the guy. You are saying exactly what these people need. You are filling a certain role in their lives that these particular people need. So when it comes to video topics, just kind of trust your gut. Like, do you think it's interesting? Okay, cover it. And yes, maybe it won't explode into the stratosphere, but maybe those 10,000 people, those few thousand, few hundred, however many, will watch this video and feel something. And the more times you kind of hit that note for them, the more likely they are to support you. So when it comes to deciding on a video topic, does your intuition think it's a good idea? Do you think you could make an extremely engaging video on it? Again, sometimes we focus too much on numbers, but again, like, what is the actual quality of your video? Is it engaging? Is it funny? Is it emotional? Is it raw? Does it make people feel something? Like, if you try to hit that more often than big numbers, then you will find yourself with a dedicated audience if you're consistent.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And I think for you, I can imagine you kind of created the channel that you wish existed. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. So like our main show that was very popular was called The Story You Never Knew, and it was ridiculous. Like my voiceover, so this is my normal voice right now, but I would the voiceover I did in those really early videos, it sounded like, "This is the story of Ezio Auditore da Firenze, the story you never knew." Like, it wasn't personal at all. It was totally just kind of shitposty and bombastic, in your face, absurd, but people loved it. However, I just gave the advice to essentially engage with your audience and sort of trust that they will trust you. The tree school approach in the beginning, I guess, was kind of that. It was just make videos on topics that we liked. That's kind of how it started. That's how it got off the ground, and it did very well. But somewhere along the way, it was essentially when we all went full-time YouTube and started relying on it. Then we started chasing the numbers. And then that's when kind of our core audience, they started to kind of leave and get replaced by a more fair weather audience. And this is part of the reason I've taken a step back from the channel, is because of this sort of transition that we accidentally did by covering topics that would do well, but they weren't really appealing to the people who signed up initially. You know, the people who really were digging what we were doing. So this was a very important life lesson for me. And I think it just kind of speaks to, you know, you want to be sustainable. You want to enjoy what you're doing enough to where you can do it indefinitely. And if you're constantly chasing numbers, unless you are just like a number obsessed person, and even if you are, like, maybe, I don't know, go to therapy or something. like just enjoy yourself, be patient, keep posting. Like, stop trying to be famous and get validation from people on the internet. Stop it. You need to stop.
Yeah. And I think like the biggest creators of all time were people that just enjoyed making videos. Like, they never got into it for any other reason. Even the ones that like started on Vine, right? These are just a lot of times kids just being funny on their phones and stuff. And they continued to love making videos and got better and better and better at it, because it is a repetition thing. But yeah, I mean, if you are your dream viewer, if you are one of those people that really would dig what your vision is for the channel, then you should be able to come up with video topics just the way you're describing it. And maybe we all overthink it a lot. And I think for me, I way overthink it, because I'm going to start releasing some videos, something similar to that Noah Kagan channel in a way. But, I have a Google sheet, like a spreadsheet with video topics. And I look at that thing and I just can't come up with anything good sometimes. And I look around and I'm like, you know what? I just need to punch in a bunch of videos that I think would be really cool that I would like to watch, because these are the kind of stuff that I watch anyways. And then just go from there and just make those ones, because those will be easy for me to make too. And it'll kind of eliminate the roadblock that I'm having right now. Everyone blames it on time. I'm so busy right now, but I really could be making videos, one a week. I mean, come on now. That's not a lot. But yeah, the plan is to get on that in the summer, but we'll see. I'm going to create some accountability. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk a little bit now about, I'm going to go ahead and just give you some maybe just some little some candy right now that you can kind of suck on for a little bit, chew on a little bit. And so here's some video topics. Versus. I love versus videos, right? And you can do it almost in any niche, whether it's a review, right, of some kind of product, this versus this, or whether you're in a niche where you could do like a character versus character, or one that I saw recently with one of our VidChops clients is like a morning routine or something like that. And what's the best morning routine, or what do you think about that? You made any versus videos? I think we might have talked about this before.
Yeah, we made a Pokemon versus Digimon video. That did super well. I don't know how many views it's at now, somewhere around 400,000, probably more at this point. But it did super well. And the nice thing about Versus 2 is you kind of end up hitting two keywords with it, right? Just automatically. It's blank versus blank. So with Pokemon versus Digimon, you're kind of hitting two fan bases and you're kind of pitting them against each other. Like if you're a Digimon fan, you're going to click that video and be like, oh, maybe this guy likes Digimon more. And if you're a Pokemon fan, you're like, oh, I want to see the Pokemon win. It's like it's a competition. It's fun. It's exciting. It's controversial. And I like it. I like the versus idea, and it has worked for me in the past several times. I'm kind of, I'll let you talk, but I kind of want to look up what other versus videos we did on Tree School.
Okay, yeah. For me, I've definitely done product review versus, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it now, I probably should have done a lot of like a dribble move versus like, the crossover versus the through the legs, or even NBA player versus. I could have made some interesting videos on that in the basketball world. But yeah, the number one thing that I can think of is like reviews. And as far as that kind of brings me to another topic. I'll spin back to you in a second, but like review videos, right? Like, so no matter what niche you're in, there's probably something you can review. You don't have to make your whole channel about review videos, but you can throw a couple in there, see how they do. Maybe people like them. And, with that strategy too, the good thing is that you can rank for a search term, right? You can rank for a review of something and draw people into your channel. And if you rank 1, 2, 3, for the next 5 years, that's a lot of people just trickling into your channel through that. So it's a nice little faucet there you can open up. But were you able to look anything up on Treesicle there? Got some reviews or what?
Yeah, so there's a few versus videos. One, Sonic versus Mario, and that's at 200,000 views. We also did Baldi's Basics versus Advanced Education with Victor Strabovsky. So if you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, that's good. Your life is better off for that. But yeah, Baldi's Basics was like a kind of shitpost game that somebody made, and it got super popular. And then there was a spin-off of that called Advanced Education with Victor Strabovsky. This probably is very confusing and sounds extremely stupid, but that is currently sitting at 93,000 views. So the Baldi's Basics was kind of a trend at the time. And this sort of spin-off game, it was kind of popular for maybe a week, and we hit it during that week. So it did fine. It did the job. It paid the bills that week, and the verses worked. It really did. And I think also the nice thing about verses is like it kind of writes itself. You can kind of just talk about what's good about this, what's good about that, what sucks about this, what sucks about that. And then at the end, you could kind of just give your subjective opinion, and that is totally reasonable. Like it's a competition, but you're the judge. So you can just say whatever you want. Like there's you're not like making a documentary or something. It's just, you're just expressing yourself.
Yeah. So okay, that's pretty good. That's the versus topic. Is there any other kind of like weird genres of, I guess, video topics that you can think of? I talked about review. We talked about how to. We talked about the verses. Anything else?
So one that comes to mind is why blank sucks, or why blank is actually bad. And that can be really good because you're taking a controversial stance. So I'll give an example. There's a YouTuber and a member of Game Grumps. His name is Ego Raptor, or that's his his screen name. And he had a show briefly called Sequelitis, and he made a YouTube video that was essentially about Ocarina of Time, a Legend of Zelda game, and why it actually wasn't that good. Now, keep in mind, this is a beloved video game. This is like a truly a masterpiece. People love this game. And this guy makes an entire video about why it's actually not that good. And it was a brilliant video. And like, he brought up a lot of really good points. The camera wasn't that good. 3D video games were kind of in their infancy and they didn't have it all figured out, even though they did a pretty good job at the time. Like there's places that you couldn't go in the map, and it kind of broke the sense of immersion, like, oh, there's an invisible wall here, or clearly they're just trying to block you off from this area and it feels forced. Like, there was a lot of really good points that he brought up. So if you can have a why blank is actually bad, or like, just kind of being controversial is good. So another example of this, there's a channel called Game Theory, and he's very popular in the YouTube space, and one of the videos that originally got him super big, this is a pretty old video. He probably made it in, like, I don't know, 2014, 2015. It was called Mario is Mental. So the idea that Mario is a sociopath, and he just like took these kind of weird instances throughout the Mario franchise and kind of hyper-analyzed them. And I mean, clearly he was like joking, but it was engaging enough and seemed true enough to where it actually kind of inspired people to get upset. But like, it was, there's something about that thread of controversy that can really, it can be fun, it can piss people off, but it also entertain people. So yeah, like, be controversial and, be careful. Don't just be mean or whatever. Like, be clever about it. Be creative. So yes, just why is something bad? Tell us why something that is popular is actually bad. Let us know.
Yeah, and being polarizing, or basically like maybe not controversial, but like choosing a side is big too. Like, you can get a whole like let's just say everyone knows the COVID-19 thing, right? There's the anti-maskers and then the maskers, right? So you could like, this is just a dumb example, but you could choose a side right there, and you're going to start drawing more people. And that's a little bit more political, I feel like, at this point. Everyone knows, but you could, those kind of things, right? So like you said, like, I could say, I'm an anti-guru. Anybody that says they're a guru, they're liars. You're the anti-guru. Like, that's the polarizing side you're taking, and you're shunning people who are like, I like, following blank and blank away a little bit, but then the people you're attracting the other side so much that it's beneficial for you. That's great. Be polarizing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop one last these little tidbits at the end. So, challenge videos. Make a challenge video, right? So, you could think even Mr. Beast style, right? Saying Logan Paul's name 100,000 times, like, that was one of his like, that was one of his challenges. Like, he had some crazy ones. Like, just, you don't have to do that. Okay. You don't have to say someone's name 10,000 times or walk 5,000 miles or whatever. But what can you do that's going to, maybe gain a little bit of attention in that world? And, if you, the harder you go, the more media attention that you could even gain, right? I mean, you do something crazy, some sort of challenge that benefits humanity, which would be great. That's going to get you some media coverage, and that's going to be probably a great video. Or even just challenge videos like, eating whatever, or it just depends on what kind of niche you're in, right? Like, I'm gonna go back to the business niche. It'd be great if I did a challenge video. I'm gonna try to earn $5,000 in the next month without using a computer. Like, I think that's a pretty interesting, topic. I think I might write that one down, but I'd have to deliver there, right? I'd have to make a video and go for it. Waking up at 5 a.m. for a week, that as a challenge or something like that. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I think the fun of challenges, especially if it's an absurd one, like, it's always going to be appealing. Especially, saying Logan Paul's name 100,000 times, waking up at 5 a.m. for a week. I think, well, the Logan Paul one is just so absurd. It's like, there's almost no value in it, and that's why it is valuable. Like, it's just ridiculous. Whereas waking up at 5 a.m. for a week, I think most people have kind of thought about that. Like, what if I really just, what if I really had my life together? What if I woke up with the sun and went to bed with the sun? What would actually happen? Well, if you're a YouTuber, you can spread that message to the world. What is it like to actually do this? So you can kind of tap into people's, I guess, fantasies about their lives with challenge videos. Other ones I've seen are, I read a book a week for a year. I ran 4 miles a day for a month. Just these kind of things that, especially that maybe you want to do. YouTube can be a good excuse to better yourself and to like really push yourself in your actual life, and not just on YouTube, but again with these videos about running. Like if you're gonna run every day for a month and film it, like now there's like an extra amount of, I guess, pressure to actually do it. And you can see how you feel and follow through and kind of share it with the world. Whereas if you're not making a video about it, I think maybe you kind of wonder, is this worth it? Am I wasting my time? But your audience can hold you accountable, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that is a good one. I mean, when I launch this channel again, I'm gonna definitely try to put some things out there like, hey, my goal is to do this, follow along on the journey, and that's going to be kind of included as a theme throughout the channel, which is fun to watch, I think, and could hopefully help get some people that jump on board too and follow along in their own lives. Okay. Yeah, I think we gave the goods today. One final note on those challenge videos is that, you don't know if you can create a video. They won't know if you're going to succeed or not till the end of the video. Could help you with some watch time there if you structure that correctly. And that's all we got for you guys this week. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And if you're listening on iTunes, please hit subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe. And just follow us wherever you can. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, everybody.